there. Hope you're having a great day. I have been doing a lot of decluttering today. A little bit of stuff out in the garden. Mostly I've been decluttering the bathroom cabinets and the fridge, but I am determined to get rid of probably 80% of what we own. I don't know, it's so freeing. And I just want to tell you a little story about that. So Dave was invited to go to Siegen, Germany to teach the book of Revelation in 3 weeks. And if you've ever read the book of Revelation, you know that is quite a task to try to do it in 3 weeks. But he taught 3 hours a day to the Bible college students there. But when we barely took anything over there. I mean, we were in Europe for 5 weeks, but we each had just the suitcase that you can fit above the plane, deal. You know what I'm talking about. You can carry on. We had a little carry-on, and then we had a backpack, and that was it. And so I think I brought like 3 pairs of pants, maybe 3 or 4 tops. I mean, we really didn't have room for a lot of stuff. And it was glorious, I have to tell you. It was fabulous. And when we got to Siegen, they had this adorable little apartment for us near town. It was so cute. And I would walk every day to the market, because when they sell milk over there, it's just in this little tiny container. Like, they expect to see you the next day. And so they do, because everything's in these little containers. But I just love that apartment. And what the David and Ingalil Guzik, our friends, had done in furnishing that apartment is they just put kind of the bare things that you would need. Like, you didn't need more than 2 or 3 plates. There really wasn't a need for that. And the silverware, just what you would need. The cookware was limited. I loved everything about that. There were like 2 towels. I mean, I thought that was just amazing, honestly. And every day we'd get into our little suitcases. Well, we put them in a closet, but I remember just thinking, this would be awesome if I only ever had a couple of choices on what to wear. So you may actually see me wearing a lot of the same things on these videos, because I am trying to get down to a very minimalistic wardrobe of the colors I like, which is a lot of red and blue, and just, so that every day my decision is a short decision. It's quick. I just have a few things to choose from, so it won't be hard. But I left Germany determined to try at some point to get our life more like that, because it was incredibly freeing, and we had so much time. You weren't washing a ton of dishes. You only had a few little things to wash. And even though I loved to bake, and I did a lot of baking, I made do with everything that I had. They had furnished it just exactly right. So a couple of years ago, actually it was 2018, I came across this challenge online, and it was get rid of 2018 things in 2018. I cannot remember the name of the website or the woman's name that was doing it, which I'm sorry about. If I think about it, I'll come back and put it in the links. But she had created this little chart, and you just checked it off as you were getting rid of things. I thought, I can do that. That's going to be so helpful in my endeavor to minimalize everything in our house, minimize. And so I printed it out and I got started. And the rule was that there were no rules. So if you were getting rid of a file folder of papers, you could either count it as one item, or you could count it as however many papers were in there. And I wanted to be real about it. I didn't want to, cheat. And it wasn't cheating, but I didn't want to make it easier on myself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I would count a file as one thing. Well, during that year, I couldn't believe all the things I was getting rid of. And I did have to get rid of 600 things in December in order to meet my goal, but I did it. And honestly, I got rid of 2018 things, and no one could have told. You couldn't have come in the house and told that we had gotten rid of 2018 things. And we don't have a cluttered home. We have a small house. We don't have a garage, so there are a lot of things, stored in odd places. But I don't like piles. I like the kitchen clean every night. We're not messy like that. But still in all, I don't know, what did they say? The average person owns 600,000 items or some crazy thing like that. I do know that in the last 50 years, the size of our homes has doubled, the average size of our homes. And that tells you something. We're buying and building bigger homes so that we can keep track of all our things that we don't need. So, and I think only 1 in 10 persons still pays for a storage unit, but still, I mean, that alone makes you crazy when you realize all the money you're throwing at that. So I did it the next year, and I still was able to get rid of 2019 things, and I felt like it didn't make a dent, even though I know it did. but it just was so mind-boggling to me that I could have gotten rid of over 4,000 things in the last 2 years, and I still had more to go. So I started writing down some questions to ask myself when I was looking at an item. And I will start off by saying that one of the number one things that caused me to do this was when my dear friend Kathy, and I'm going to have her come and do a little guest interview with me because she has a fabulous story to tell you. You're going to love it. But Kathy and I were talking, and her mother had passed away. So Kathy and her 2 siblings had to go over to the house in Hood Canal and go through everything. And she said it took 3 weeks. She said to me, Shannon, my mother couldn't have 2 or 3 nice beaded purses. She had to have 23. And she couldn't have just a few favorite Tupperware items. She had to have 1 or 2 of every item that was ever made. And, you know, she said she and her siblings were just throwing things right and left. And when she told me that, we were out to lunch. We love to go to Scott's Bar and Grill in Edmonds. Little shout out to them. They're really amazing. But we were probably at lunch, I think. And I just remember thinking, do I want my son and daughter-in-law and, you know, grandchildren, do I want people to have to go through my things and be irritated because I have so much stuff? And that right there kind of set me on the path. Then I read this book called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. And I wanted to say that slowly because it is kind of an unusual title. And the Swedish people have this mentality that when you get older and you kind of know your time is shorter, you begin going through your things with an eye for what will my loved ones want and what won't they. You give away things to your friends if they want them, and you donate the rest so that you make that task easier for your family. And I think that's just incredibly loving. So that really, all of those things worked on my mindset. And when I sat down to write my list, I'll put my glasses on, the questions that I wrote down that we should ask when we're trying to decide whether or not to throw away something, the first one was, would my children want this? And, you know, we have a lot of sentimental things. You know, we have a really interesting family history because my either great-great or great-great-great-grandmother was this Indian princess by the name of Ekalaka. And Ekalaka, Montana happens to be named after her. And she married David Russell, who was this Scottish adventurer who was alone at the time of the age of 12 because his family had died of smallpox or something, you know, some horrible thing while they were en route to, how do you say that? En route, you know, to the West Coast. And so he was on his own, and he once loaned Ulysses S. Grant $40. And what's the guy? Buffalo Bill, no, Wild Bill Coyote, or I think Cody, sorry. Wild Bill Cody. Anyway, there was some sort of show in Little Country, but they wanted him to come and be a roper for that. And he didn't think anything would come of it, and it turned out to be this great show. But anyway, so we have a lot of interesting historical, there's a book written about Ekalaka and David Russell and all that. But all that stuff I know my son in particular is very interested in. And my daughter told me once that she wanted my Bible when I died because I've been keeping it forever and it has so many notes. There's hardly any place to put those new notes, new thoughts. But would my children want it? And when I look at it that way, I realize there's just a lot of plastic Rubbermaid stuff in the cupboards that they're going to have no interest in. And, you know, just a lot of knickknacks that won't matter to them. And I know that Dave loves just a very sparse house. He likes when there's less things everywhere. So anything I got rid of was going to make him happy. So that was an easy one. I would think if I lost this in a fire and it really did matter to me, could I buy another one? Would it be easy to replace it? Does this mean anything to anyone but me? And there again, that has a lot to do with the people that would come after me that would have to deal with my things. But it really does help me when I'm looking at something to go, I can enjoy the memory of having that thing, or the memory of when it was given to me, or when some adventure that we were on, or some travel, some vacation, and I got that thing without having to own it. You know, you can give things away and still have had value and enjoyment out of the item after it's gone. So another one is, did I even know I had this? You know how you go through things in your the attic or your storage unit or your garage? For those of you lucky enough to have a garage, I'm so jealous, but we could really make use of one. But you know how you go through a box, you're like, oh, I forgot about that item. Well, if you forgot about it, you could probably donate it and bless someone else. Is this valuable? Because if it's something that really does have some monetary value, but you're not using it, or you're saving it for one reason or another, but it's not really useful in your life, you could always try to sell it. OfferUp's a pretty great little tool for those things. Here's a big one. Do I want to have to find a place for this? That one really gets me because, like I said, our house is small, and to keep something means it needs to have a home, because I really believe that. And if my stomach kind of lurches or tightens up at the thought of having to create a space for it, then I know it's probably something that's not worth my time and my energy. And here's a big one too that we do. Am I keeping this out of guilt? We do that. We keep things and we think, well, I can't get rid of that because my grandparents bought that for me in Scotland when I was 10 years old. Never mind the fact that they bought it for a 10-year-old head, and I could not put it on to save my life. It will not fit around this head. Can I just enjoy the fact that I remember that plaid distinctly, and anytime I see that particular pattern, I'm going to remember them? Can that be enough? Or do I have to actually find a spot to hold on to that? Because I guarantee you, when I'm gone, nobody else is going to know that I kept that all those years because my grandparents got it for me in Scotland. So a lot of those things I've gotten rid of, I freed myself up. Part of that is saying to myself, those people are gone. I mean, the enjoyment they had out of it was giving it to me. And they could not care less if I keep it or get rid of it. They really couldn't. So that's another one that's really helpful. If I really, really regretted getting rid of this, could I replace it? Now, this one you have to think about because, I am so mad at myself. I had this wonderful coat that I got at the thrift store, because I really do go to the thrift store first for many things that I buy, not, other things, but I mean, I have my limits, but I love checking at the thrift store, and I've found some great things that way. But I found this coat, and I've since learned it was a field coat or a barn coat, chore coat, whatever they call those. But it was this baby whale corduroy, very soft, very small corduroy. That's why they call it baby whale. And then the collar was like a brown, and the sleeves here, or the trim here, was sort of a brown, also soft fabric. I don't know what it was, but the inside was flannel. And it was this coat that, and every time Dave and I went for a walk down the trail, I would put that coat on because it was so comfortable, and it had pockets for my phone, and I just felt snuggly in it. Will someone please tell me why I ever gave that away? I have no idea what possessed me. I was going through closets one day, and I think I thought, I only wear this when we go on walks. Well, I've looked for it ever since. I do searches on eBay, on OfferUp, on Poshmark. I go to thrift stores and look for that coat, and I have not yet found it. So I am very sorry that I got rid of that. But for the most part, I can't think of anything else I've ever gotten rid of and thought, why did I do that? So if I did regret it, maybe I could find it again, but for the most part, don't get rid of things that you might regret later. Will I think about this after it's gone? That's kind of akin to, did I even remember that I had it? And I saw a picture of myself that someone sent me a while back, and I looked at the shirt that I was wearing, and I thought, I remember when I really loved that shirt, and it served its purpose, and I gave it to the Goodwill again, but I didn't miss it. I mean, I could see it and go, yeah, I really love that shirt, but it wasn't like I was going, how could I have given that shirt away? It means so much to me, or anything like that. It was like, yeah, I did like that. Now this is also, I like to trick myself into things, and I know that sounds silly, but if I really don't want to clean something, the sink, or not the sink, I love to clean the sink, but if I really don't want to clean like the fridge, I'll say to myself, you can only clean one shelf today. That's all. That's all you can do. And there is enough of a rebel in me that I like to argue with myself. So I'll clean that shelf, and then I will say to myself, well, you're not the boss of me, and I'll clean another one. I don't know why that helps me, but it does. Or if you set a timer and say, you can only clean for 15 minutes and that's it. Well, when the timer goes off, you go, well, yeah, watch this. I'm going to clean another 15 minutes. So anyway, I tricked myself with this one too, I think. Am I willing to get rid of another thing in order to keep this? If I think this is so valuable that I have to find a spot for it, I have to also get rid of something. That's the little deal I make with myself. And I'm really talking about things like that you have pulled out of boxes from the attic, because those are already in a spot. But whenever I pull one down, I think, oh yeah, I loved this Christmas whatever, and I'm going to keep that. And then I tell myself, okay, what are you going to get rid of to use it? And then can I get along without it? You know, going through the bathroom right now, I have to tell you, I get a lot of creams given to me. I don't know if my friends are saying, Shannon, do something about that skin. You know, I don't really know what that's about, but I have had so many gift boxes and bags with lots of creams and stuff in them, and I do think that's something as women we do give to each other, so that's okay. But when I have had those, you know, I always stick them in the back of the cupboard, and then I do pull one out when I run out of lotion. But the thought that I could get rid of 14 bottles of cream, and I asked myself the question, can I live without it? Well, I can, because if I need more, I can go get it. Or journals. I do, because I was a writer, am a writer, but all my life people have given me journals, and I have stacks and stacks of journals. And I started giving those to my grandchildren and saying, hey, why don't you guys keep a diary? Or, you know, giving them to friends when they expressed any interest at all in journaling. But, you know, we can live without 45 journals and 14 bottles of lotion. We just can. And then the last one is this serving me or am I serving it? And knickknacks are a little bit like that, because when you have to dust them, pick them up, you know, clean under them, you're really serving that little knickknack. And yes, it might bring you pleasure, but so many of the items that we keep are just out of habit. We have it and we take care of it and we clean it and we work around it and move around it. You know, I just thought, I'm done with that. If it's not something I really love, I don't want to deal with it anymore. So slowly my mantle that used to have, you know, I don't know, 17 things on it. I mean, they were arranged nicely. It's a big mantle, but it's gotten down to where I have 3 candelabras with candles on them. And then I have another candle on one end and another on the other, because I do love candles. And I have a mirror behind that mantle, so it reflects it all. But I never thought I could get rid of all the other little things that were up there. But you know what? I don't miss a one of them. So if that's something that is an issue for you, I hope that list is valuable. And again, if I get my act together, I will make a list of those questions and put it on there. But that's it for now. Just wanted to throw that out there because I am kind of in a cleaning frenzy right now, and I want you to be too. So thanks, guys, and we will talk soon. I'm back for just a quick second. 2 things. First of all, I do apologize for all the touching on my face, but it is still hot out here. I'm sorry about that. I should just bring a rag out with me or something, but you know, anyway, that's what all that is about. The next thing is books. I did want to touch on that because I love books, and you know, they're super hard to get rid of. But what I started doing to help me with that is if I really loved a book that I had read as a child or something, those I kept, but I did not keep the books that I kept saying, one day I'm going to read this. Instead, I made a list, and I still have to do this as new books come into the picture, but I made a list of the books that I was donating, so that if there was ever a time when I thought, don't we have that book, I could check the list and probably get it at the library. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about living in the day and time that we're in. The library will have it, or you can order it online or get it on Kindle. I mean, there's a million ways to get a book. So that's it. Talk to you later.